Whether in the physical or the umbral realms, the were-ravens keep their eyes and ears open for the mysterious and the unknown. They of course will sometimes share these happenings with their other shape-changing cousins. Their fleet wing and quick wit can turn the tide for those who call the Corax allies. Seriously, who writes this shit? If you go to the tales of old, you're never going to learn about what's happened. So stick around, kid, and we'll talk about the Corax. The Corax. They were actually the very last of the changing breeds to be created by Gaia. Basically, after all the other changing breeds had been created and they were doing aggressive posturing towards each other for about 15 minutes or so, 15 minutes, who knows how long the actual time frame is for a god, that's when Gaia knew she needed another child, and thus the Corax was born. Basically, the Corax are supposed to be the little sibling who runs to mom and tells them about all the bad stuff you've done, so that you can get in trouble. The legends go that once she made the Corax, she scattered them out throughout the world. One other trait that Gaia gave her Corax children was wanderlust. How can you keep tabs on the other children if you're not moving around? Because they certainly are. So no Corax will tend to stay in one spot for very long. Corax are also notoriously bad at keeping secrets. Do not trust one with your secrets. They will tell somebody. It's not entirely their fault that they just go blabbing anything that they've learned about. It's actually built into their core being, again at the behest of Gaia. This is also a good thing because if Corax see something to report, they will report it to who needs to know about it. If there's a battle that needs to happen, they're going to talk to the werewolves about it. If a spot needs to be cleansed, they're going to go talk to the Gural about it. Another thing that the Corax like to do is they like to play pranks. There's usually a method to their madness for why they do what they do. Many cases it'll be to teach somebody a lesson, or less often the case it will be to pass along a message. I pity the Farah who gets the ire up of a Corax enough that they just want to prank them for fun. In the way back times, back when human civilization was still a fledgling and coming to its own, the Corax, when they shared their information with the other changing breeds, were usually given gifts or had lavish praise bestowed upon them. Nowadays, not so much. We now live in an era where the truth is a dirty word, so being the messengers of truth is kind of a thankless job. Being that the Corax are the information carriers for the entirety of the Farah society, Corax almost exclusively use technology. They are going to be incredibly savvy when it comes to the internet and using their mobile devices. Anything that can carry a signal and carry a message, they are the go-to people to know how to use these things. This, of course, will have changed significantly, again back from the early days of civilization, where the Corax would have used spirits. Over the passage of time, though, and the creation of the internet, Corax shifted away from spirits and went to the technological side. The Corax, with their connection to the Umbra and the physical realm, they are the ones that are going to be most likely to have a cell phone or a technological device that can cross from the physical realm to the Umbra. These are incredibly rare items, but the Corax as a whole are going to be the ones that have the most of them, and they will guard them extremely well. Some Corax, with their inventiveness, will have been able to combine technology and spiritual side of things together and get them to work in harmony. Those are going to be the most successful and the most knowledgeable Corax around. If you can get to know one of those guys, do it. So what is a Corax organization or Corax tribe like? In the Corax world, it's first come, first serve. Information is king, and being able to act on that makes you the superior one. An individual Corax, they want that companionship, they want that partnership, but the rest of the Farah are extremely wary of them because of their investigative nature. They just want to find out things, they want to learn the secrets, and then they go tell them to somebody else. So this makes them very difficult to trust. Corax, if they travel, do appreciate the company of a fellow Corax, and that would be their preferred way to go. If having another Corax go along on their travels is not an option, they will go it alone as the secondary method, and after that, they might have a tag along with some of the other Farah or the other changing breeds. There's a saying that comes among the Corax. If you put 5 of them in a room, ask for directions, you will get 6 different opinions on what to see while you're going to your destination, and 7 on how to get there. Because the Corax are ravens and they can fly, they do take their freedom very, very seriously. Corax kept in solitary confinement do not do well, especially those who are not able to just get out and buzz around the skies for a bit. When Corax do get together to swap information, share stories, they will have what they call gathers. If you want to get real fancy with it though, you can call it parliaments. So what makes playing a Corax particularly special? Well, for starters, they can fly, so you have that going for you, which is nice. Another thing that's interesting to note about the Corax is they are fragile, at least fragile compared to the rest of the Fera. They are not designed to fight, and they will try to avoid one at all costs. It's common knowledge that birds have hollow bones, and the Corax are no exception, except for a couple of their forms. When they go into their Birdman form or their Krynos form, which is their war form, their bones are still quite solid. Because their shape is so unusual, the Corax will actually have a penalty for their athletics rolls and for their soak rolls in any form. They're supposed to be spies, they are not supposed to be warriors. One other little tidbit, the Corax, they are immune to silver. They go to great lengths to keep that particular little secret about them, well, secret. However, if they were to come into contact with gold, it's basically the same as if a werewolf touches silver. There's also one other ability that we need to talk about that the Corax have. This one's not for the squeamish. A Corax, if it eats the eye of someone who has died, it will see the last things that that particular creature saw. Now they can only use this ability once per corpse, but each eye will tell you something different. If a Corax eats, drinks, consumes the left eye of a corpse, what that eye will show you is all the repercussions that happens of that person's death. And it'll be specifically all the bad things that'll happen since that person has died. The right eye will show you all the good things that have happened about that person's passing. So use this to your own advantage for your own information gathering, but know what you want because you can only consume one eye per corpse. Corax also have a weakness when it comes to shiny things. It's a literal compulsion. If they see something shiny, they have to make a will save to resist going to grabbing that shiny object. And it's a little bit difficult, so it's a pretty serious compulsion. Did I mention that the Corax only comes in one of two varieties? One that was born human and one that was born corvid. Notice that it's a different saying than what's going on in the world right now. The Corax also only have 3 forms that they can shift into as well: Homid, Corvid, Krynos. It should be mentioned for the Corax that while they are just one race, the Corax, they do have several houses. I will do another video on the Corax houses, so look for that in the future. Finally, the totem spirit of the entire Corax race is Raven. Raven gives them power for the night, and he also helps them in their ability to pass between the worlds, physical and the Umbra. Corax have worked themselves into human society all over the planet. They are everywhere. If there's information to be gleaned or to be used, they will be in positions that will have it, or at least have access to it. I think this is a pretty fun race. I think this adds something to the table. They'd be a little bit difficult to integrate into a mixed Fera party. If you were doing a werewolf campaign and you had somebody who wanted to play a Corax as a storyteller, it would be easy enough to come up with a reason as to why a Corax player could be there. Just due to their nature and their need to be out and about, it's not recommended that a Corax would stick around in a party for a long period of time. But if you're the storyteller, it's your game and you do you, baby. I think a Corax could make a great antagonist or even a quest giver. If you were looking for something to kind of spice up your story a little bit, this would be a great idea to use a Corax for. Up on the screen now, I will have a playlist of other videos that I have done on the other changing breeds. YouTube will also have selected a video that it thinks you might enjoy next. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this from myself. My name's Nathaniel. You've been watching The Maple Table. Thanks for stopping by, everyone.